Good evening. I am Michael Robbins, assistant professor in the MFA program in creative writing, and it's my honor to introduce Nicole Callihan to McNeese State University. First, I'd like to note that this reading is sponsored in part by the Juliet Hardner Endowed Professorship, and I'd like to thank Michael Horner, director of the MFA program, Keegan Lejeune, head of the Department of English, and Dr. Michael Buckles, Dean of the College of Liberal Arts. Each, as you are probably aware, are instrumental to this and many other activities, big and small, across campus. McNeese is home to the oldest Master of Fine Arts writing program in the state and has a rich history of hosting writers from Louisiana and beyond. These author visits are a highlight of our program and broaden the artistic opportunities for all of our residents in Lake Charles and the surrounding area. The MFA program is now accepting applications for fall 2024 enrollment, so please spread the word and encourage others to join this unique community. Where else but an introduction do we attempt such formal public praise? A wedding toast, a retirement party, a funeral? None of these are true tonight, at least not for us. Nicole Callihan is the author of The Strange Garment, Terrapin Books 2023, Superloop and the poetry chapbooks The Deeply Flawed Human, Downtown and Elsewhere with Zoe Ryder-White, as well as a novella, The Couples. She is an editor of Braving the Body, an anthology to be published next year, and is additionally part of an ongoing project which includes generative writing workshops and performances, and her next collection of poems, Slip, will arrive from Saturnalia Books in 2025. A list of honors may be true. Callihan is recipient of the Alma Book Award, and support for her work comes from Bethany Arts, the Rockefeller, Ludwig Vogelstein, and Sustainable Arts Foundations. But these fail to reflect the stubborn pen or crumpled page, the particular light or darkness in which the writer wakes, the hours and weeks, if not months and years, toiled in an attempt to approach the beautiful. Reading This Strange Garment, it's apparent that Callihan knows these peculiar, unexpected, and often lonely stretches of time, and her own brand of intimacy extends into this actual breathing world where each of us, for now at least, is lucky to pass this short time. And what of the body, that vantage from which we learn, mislearn, and unlearn, who we know so well and who is simultaneously strange, estranged, a stranger? How it cracks and how, if willing, it heals. A central focus, if not the central focus of this strange garment, is diagnosis, treatment, and a path toward healing. In this astonishing record, there's also connection and hope. And regardless of our own individual struggles, sometimes public or most of the time deeply private, Nicole Callihan's poems help us feel less alone. I'm so grateful that Nicole is here and that she's sharing her work with us tonight. So please welcome Nicole Callihan.
What a pleasure to be here. So, yeah, thank you. Lake Charles. I like it. So I'm I'll read some poems from The Strange Garment and then some other poems. Everything is temporary. If I were face up in the MRI machine, I'd see the cherry blossoms affixed to the ceiling. But I'm face down. My arms are extended above my head. A crane, I read this morning, can stay aloft for up to 10 hours. It barely needs to flap its wings. There is a plastic window and a mirror to make me feel as if I can see the women on the other side of the glass. If I'm scared, I should squeeze the egg. I'm scared, but I don't squeeze the egg. Everything is temporary, I say in my head. Everything is temporary, I say over and over. This makes me feel better. Everything is temporary, until it makes me feel worse. Everything is temporary. But feeling worse feels foolish because really, everything is temporary. On the way to the hospital, I dropped 2 letters into the blue mailbox. Now, on a train headed north, the chatty lady across the aisle is also drinking a White Claw. She takes off her mask to show me how friendly she is. I have breast cancer, I say, and really don't want to deal with COVID during my surgery. Everything is temporary, even my friendship with this lady across the aisle, even though we both drink White Claw and have paid for a business class ticket. Cranes are perennially monogamous. I'm not sure what this means, but Wikipedia tells me it's important that scientists study it. If early mating attempts fail, they will divorce. Everything is temporary. I suppose a failure for cranes is simply something that doesn't result in an egg, which won't result in a bird, which won't result in 20 to 30 years of flight. Are you okay? The woman behind the glass asks. I don't think so, I say. Can I move? No, she says. I wiggle my toes inside my doubled up socks. She says nothing. I have moved, undiscovered. It's like being naked under your coat. This morning, after teaching, before heading to the hospital, I stood in my panties in front of the mirror. I thought, this is my temporary body. I've been having dreams in which I am only a body. Zoe dreamed she could unzip her body from herself, but I dreamed there was no self. What if Zoe were to help me out of my dress some evening, like I used to zip or unzip my mother? Come, mother would say, zip me up. Or coming home, come, unzip me. But in the evening light, Zoe, having rubbed a little egg-shaped soap to my zipper's metal teeth, would discover my absence. Oh goodness, she might say, there is nothing here. And then, because she is kind, but you are fine just the way you are. The train attendant wears a glitter mask, and the man in front of me has made several calls that begin, hey honey. Is he calling the same honey every time? Does he call everyone honey? If stored properly, honey stays good for decades. But how does one know what has been properly stored? Today is the 13th anniversary of my wedding. It is the 7th month of the pandemic. It has been 3.5 weeks since I found out I have cancer. The election is in 14 days. Everything is temporary, even the patriarchy, and my White Claw, and the crane's flight, and the machine still beeping in my brain, the pretty red mesh of the bandage where the IV was inserted, the clouds crossing the train's window, the train, the window, even the beautiful expanse of river that has finally opened to me, the changing leaves, the reflection of the changing leaves in the river of the changed leaves, the sky, even the searching, the reaching, the naming, even those, even this, temporary. Sunday morning. There was the God that was in the peaches and the cobbler, and the God and the rosebuds and the glasses on the table where the chicken, fried, swam in the syrup from the waffles, and the God and the sweet tea, and the God of my daughters laughing, the God of all the women opening their blouses, all the women saying, you'll be okay, honey, and the God in the scarves, and the God in what got cut out or would soon get cut out, and the God of the sun on my face while the breeze was God. Yes, my God, the breeze. Equine behavior. Ella asks if you have to be lying down to die. I think you can die then fall, I say. Or you can be in a seated position. We ask Siri, but Siri wants to talk about horses. She says you should slap the horse. If you can't lift the horse on your own, have someone help you lift the horse, but you must get the horse on its feet. Walk it in circles, hock and fetlock. When I could finally drive, I drove myself to the doctor, circled the block for parking. The winter was mild, is mild. I still have last year's gloves balled up in the bottom of my bag, the painful joints, the navicular bone. Lonely, sleep-deprived horses may be resistant to schooling. The sky is half very blue, half very gray. My husband coughs in the shower. If you blow into a horse's nostrils, it will be dedicated to you for life. This is true, or at least partially true, like most everything, truth being its own sort of saddle. Woman with bright spots. Vlad, my radiologist, assures me I will feel nothing. Only happiness, he says. Hungry, I stare out the window. He slaps the inside of my elbow, tells me he has rarely seen such beautiful veins. This pleases me. Even now, I'm a sucker for beauty. I take a deep breath, look away, feel something barely. Is this happiness? Pinch me. The sugar water attached to a radioactive isotope moves through my veins. Maybe after I'll get a steak from Smith & Walensky's, a wedge salad, or a grilled Swiss with bacon and tomato on rye plus Funyuns from the deli. I will take picture of your insides, Vlad says, like Picasso. I imagine myself Picasso's weeping woman, my blue teeth chattering, red bow, canary yellow ear, the fear. The machine will read for bright spots, Cancer being the brightest of spots. There are stars, all light is information. Or is it the other way around? Before surgery, I met Zoe and Caitlin at the cabin, and Zoe brought us jars of moon water. You just leave the jar outside on a full moon, then drink it up. It'll make you live forever, or want to. We drank some of it, saved the rest. This too is a stage of survival. Hoarder of light and color. Woman in an armchair, woman with a flower, woman throwing a stone, girl before mirror, interior with girl, woman by window, woman at the mouth of a machine. Vlad asks me to lift my arms. I can't, I say. Only this high, I say, which is not very high. The scars aren't even really scars yet, still just wounds. And so Vlad tucks my hands beneath my hips. Now I'm a botched painting, but then I held the jar of moon water to my chest and felt the glass vibrate with my heart's hard pumping. Was that happiness? Vlad puts 2 blankets over my body, a chill I can't shake. Last week at home, recovering in bed, I asked Kristen to cover my face with the long cashmere shawl I've been sleeping with. This isn't funny, she said, but did it anyway, and we laughed until it hurt. In the machine, I dream for a minute, I sleep, I panic, breathe, sleep again, breathe, sleep. I can feel the weight of the waves on my face, the ripple across my shoulders, my sore sternum. When I checked in, Sandra at the desk told me she has known my oncologist forever. 15 years, she said. Forever and a day. Forever and ever. Forever or 15 years, whichever comes first. I'm in the machine forever, and then I'm out. Now we can start test, Vlad says, but he is joking. He wraps a bright blue cloth around my arm from where the IV went in. It is an exquisite blue, a blue I've witnessed only a handful of times, a blue I could count on my fingers, and then I am woman in changing room removing gown, woman not looking in mirror, woman fastening surgical bra, woman in sweater, in soft pants, in elevator, woman under broken sky, shoving broken pretzels from dented Ziploc baggie, fished from bottom of woman's bag, in woman's tired face. I am woman not weeping on street corner, not weeping in cold New York air, not weeping on the long ride home, not weeping woman, oh woman, don't weep. Those were some fun days. You know, live to tell the tale, right? This, I'll read one more right now in here, and then I'll read some newer ones. This is the longest poem in the book. It's called The Paper Anniversary, and I wrote it on the anniversary of my first year diagnosis. The Paper Anniversary. Paper gowns are not as soft as cloth gowns, are not as soft as silk, as milk, which is only soft until it sours. Here in the wee hours I sulk, the bulk of my body, my thin skin, the membrane of my weak brain. After the fanfare, the hoopla, the careful decisions, sloppy incisions, I write about the violets gone blue, the violets, that roses are red, that also pale yellow. Hello, it's been 1 year. What have I to fear? These queer balloons, pop, pop, pop. Paper gowns are not as soft as cloth gowns, are not as soft as dirt. This insidious hurt, and this and this and that, that and that and that. A rat on the grave of a spouse, a mouse, 2 mouses, so mice, so fuzzy dice, in a sky blue van. I should have been a man, and I was, and I wan and wane, am as sane as a sanitary napkin adhered to your big, fat, beautiful forehead. Bring me your dead, let them dance in my bed, let them swoon and spin and tap, tap, tap. Paper gowns are not as soft as cloth gowns, are not as soft as dust. The uncle who cussed and threw bottles, his face of mottles, this pace of piecing, of piecemeal, quiet thrill, grown shrill, grown silent as a mole on your spine. Oh, you're divine in your shame, this blame. Your name is mud in my eye, a chicken thigh I licked, gnawed to the bone, this moan, a wishbone caught in my pale, clean throat. Paper gowns are not as soft as cloth gowns, are not as soft as water, as the eyelashes of my daughter, who perhaps I've disappointed, certainly anointed, the oils and creams, the comb I've mouthed 1,000 times, the dreams. What a mystery, this sealed vessel, this meal for worms. Oh, how we squirm in the face of disaster, a vase full of asters. It's not love I'm after, but after the aftermath, in which X approaches infinity, the serenity. See also my affinity for pain. Paper gowns are not as soft as cloth gowns, are not as soft as the skin of the pear, pelt of the bear, the felt thing, the svelte and sung, wrung out to dry, draped over the faucet just so you know I've lost it all, or am losing, unloosing, a viper, candy striper, sunbeam and swish, the unwashed dish. The woman at the sink is sinking, is thinking. To abandon a body is a different sort of song. Welcome fright, this flight, the sonorous water, amorous lover. What a lark, this dark, to couple and waft, drain these noodles. I wonder how many times I've said brush your teeth, as if mattering begins in the head. We'll all be dead, we'll all be dead. Just brush your teeth and go to bed. Oh, you all are a quiet group, quiet crew. We'll just watch her sweat. So yes, that's This Strange Garment, and that actually sounded a little more depressing than I remember it, but there are moments of hope. So now I'm gonna put my hair up. I'm gonna read some poems from my forthcoming book, Slip, and then I'll read some new poems. I might even read one I wrote today, because, you know, why not? It's not any good, but, you know, it's a poem that I wrote today. Okay, so these few are from Slip. The Stick. There was a stick at the mouth of the cave. These are the things I did with the stick. Chewed it, waved it to the sky, poked myself in the eye, pretended it was a daisy, pretended it was an orchid, a tulip, lily, cigarette, made it into a gun and shot my brother, nudged my brother to make sure he was dead, nudged my brother to make sure he wasn't dead, licked it like a lollipop, sang into it like a microphone, brushed my hair with it, brushed my tongue, gagged myself with it, gagged myself again, made myself throw up, made myself cry, made myself look pretty, made myself sit in the car alone, made myself practice writing my first name with the last name of a boy I loved, whipped my knuckles with it, my thighs, dug little stars into my forearm, tried to beat off a man, tried to beat him harder, tried to use it as a megaphone, tried to pry my mouth open and say the words out loud, made it into a calculus equation, an airplane, a gun again, pointed it to the sky, prayed over it, moved to Brooklyn with it, took it to the bar, punished it, ignored it, pretended it wasn't mine, put it in the corner of that dirty little apartment on 12th Street, let the cat piss on it, wrote bad poems about it, slept with it, let it touch me in places I had never been touched, let it scratch the very itch it made, took it to a candlelit dinner, packed it up into a U-Haul, turned it into an altar for my wedding, danced with it instead of with my father, took it on my honeymoon, didn't breathe a word of it to my husband, shoved it to the back of the junk drawer in our new home, forgot where I put it, searched for it, found it only after I forgot I was looking, let it accompany me to the hospital, bit on it while the baby was being born, bit on it while the next baby, the sick one, was being aborted, bit on it when the littlest was born, tried to prod myself awake, My God, I was tired. All those years of nursing and thermometers and back rubs and mommy, don't go. Started sleeping with it under my pillow, took it to therapy, gave it a name, hid it behind my back when my husband walked in, danced with it, wrote it an inappropriate email, wished I had buried it by the mouth of the cave when I still remembered where the cave was, used it to call my mother to see if she remembered the cave, turned it into a peace offering, until finally I tied a string to it and dangled the string into the river. There, after 1,000 years, I caught a fish, but the fish was too small, so I threw it back. Girlhood. After we emptied the house of men, we let the curtains grow dirty and tore numbered pages off the wall. I carried a stick, Heather a brush. We ripened in our weeks-worn swimsuits and sucked our mouths raw with fireballs. On the most special night of the year, we'd get a port wine cheese ball from Kroger's and make a pallet on the floor, lock the door, dip our fingers into Mother's fuzzy navel as Miss North Carolina floated from one side of the stage to the other. She was our dream. One day, we too could have a safety-pinned sash and talent, shaved legs, hope. We would be far away, so grown and loved. 20. There was rice in the salt shakers. I married the ketchups, rubbed spots off silverware, mostly wore my hair down back then, or didn't, but remember it down, kept my money in a sock, only had a fan, still prayed. Mostly I saw windows flying by, a little snow. If you dropped pennies in me, you'd hear them hit the bottom. 22. In that I was a baby poet then, with dust in my teeth, the sweet spire of my mother's yellowed slip, having been a virgin, then a born-again virgin, then born again and again, the pinkish drool, synovial fistonic. I'd write you, and drag you, darling, through the pond's wet weeds, sky and stamen, short of breath, a little note to self, little self-song about stone boats, a kiss on the throat, root switch and buttercup, and my God, how easy desire came, how easy the petals in the gutter, the cock pilfer and rain. I stained the sheets of all the pages with this and that, dahlia and twine. It's June, and what I've not deleted, ash and knucklebone, I know by heart. Not tired, not yet, of being brave. Come close, closer still. Of this life, let's have our fill. And now I'll read some newer poems. I'm gonna see what time it is. How's it going? We have homecoming party to get to? Maybe? I don't know. Are you going to homecoming? Oh, you're just stretching. Oh, okay. Wow, this is a big room. Big room. Big personality. Okay, yeah.
The homecoming game is canceled.
What?
The game is canceled, so there's no homecoming.
Well, but it seems like people are still celebrating. You can still come home even if there's no game, right? Okay, a little sorrow in the title. I settled for the reverse narrative, the after ever happily. I purchased a dragon, a handful of teeth in a tin. They had advertised it as a rattle, a surgeon's veil, some oil of Olay, a few parasites. The water rippled and I stood very close to it, having a conversation with myself. In our session the week before, the handsome Dr. Greer suggested that if I weren't afraid of water, I'd likely drown. Touché, Dr. Greer. If you imagine humanity as the stained banister of the stairwell, and such that it's fairly easy to paint over a stain. Oh hey, what's your name? You've got a little something in your teeth. I've been pleasant enough, my rage modest, my attempts at betrayal weak, picket fences, perishables. My husband used to call me a time bomb, but now he calls me sweetie. True story. You can call me anytime. Is your refrigerator running? Most very funny things are very true and obvious or a little mean, and many are both. The laconic careening. Where's Robin? Robin is with her rabbit. Where's Robin's rabbit? I bet you wish you knew. Oh boy, there was a lot of lice that winter. I woke up from surgery and the room barely had a window and my head was itching so bad. And I was like, Mom, if I have lice and I just had my breast cut off, that would be so fucking ridiculous. And she was like, Nicole, don't curse. You don't have lice. But I did. Now it's gone. Lots of things are. An intimacy with loss and other poems. Time. Of all the social constructs, I think I love time best. How this morning, which I could call morning, I did morning things, shuffled around in my morning gown, had not woken to a morning alarm, because my body is like morning, every day come morning, so no need for an alarm. Light through a window will do, or not even light. The threat of light through a window will do. And my body being my second favorite construct, or having been my favorite construct when it was young and favorited, though now I think my favorite of all the constructs is language. I like how if you hold a page at a distance, it could say any old thing, but come close, and I might be offering an image, say, of my mother on the top of the stairs, or at the bottom of the stairs, the top 40 years ago, the bottom only 3. So I guess I'm thinking about written language as a construct. Anna used to tie her books in a yellow ribbon and carry them in a basket on her bicycle. I love remembering her in the village. I loved how we suspected she and Michael were lovers. I less loved when her husband hung himself in the garage, how she changed her ribbon to a gray one. Didn't she? Do you love me? And if you don't, why have you read to the bottom of this page? It's evening now, or not evening, but the sky is so gray that the afternoon seems to be evening. Is loneliness a construct? Snow? The soup simmers. After I eat it, will my hunger be a construct? And if I don't, what then? Viewmaster. Inside, I can see Toronto and the vicinity, a swale of songbirds, my mother's chest pain. How nice it is to click, click through a red stereoscope on a broken swing set. Cribs when babies could still be laid face down. How soundly we slept, my Irish twin and me. No one loved anyone more. No one loved anyone. No one loved anyone anymore. Basho was in Kyoto, longing for Kyoto. Where were we? Mourning under the rhubarb tree. And thus my sojourn into sovereignty, to click, click through vellum and ink. Had I flung myself from the turnip truck, or had it flung me? And here I see you in the porch light. In memory, everyone peels an apple with a pocket knife, and the field is filled with violence, and the only violence is inside the mind. Bump, bump. Here comes the bride, there goeth the bride, blue moon over the bouncy house, little hungry girl and later hosen. There's a photo of me from then. I look so hungry and frightened and sick that it makes me snort. I say, this is when I became a poet. I say, you've got cotton candy where your brain should be. I've got a hankering for a hankering, mayonnaise sandwiches and buttermilk, click. A crane collapses, click. New Jersey won't accept my passport, clickety click, clackety clack, cackalacky feathers bursting from my snout. I'm out or in, nudge, nudge, cough, shudder me in me, shudder. What does that mean? No idea. Funny. Okay, so I'm gonna read a couple of my Miami sonnets, and yeah, I think that's where we are. Time is moving. Thank you all for listening to me. This is the children. Yeah. What a pleasure. So I was telling people who came to the craft talk today that I recently moved to Miami, and I thought I would be writing like these beautiful poems about peacocks and palm trees, but I end up writing about Starbucks and Walmart. I also claimed that they were really hilarious, and I have to take that back now. I mean, they're not, you know, nothing's funny after the fact as funny, but they are sonnets. Really, I've watched enough SVU. I tell Eva, enough I know 14-year-olds aren't always where they say they'll be. And just because we left the city and live in this weird flat white house and the palm trees and the peacocks, or maybe precisely because of the palm trees and the peacocks and how I drag my young body to McDonald's before dawn and sit there with Mike and Stacy and Chad and Danette, and we'd smoke 100 cigarettes and scratch off Monopoly prizes. We wanted boardwalk. We wanted free hash browns. We wanted to be dead so bad we'd do the stupidest shit, then tell the tale till Mountain Dew shot out of our noses. I don't mention my daughter's hickey. Something about the ocean. I swing by the pharmacy for an unnameable item. Stock up on plenty of names, Mucinex, Cheerios, CoverGirl, anything to distract the embarrassed young man behind the counter. It hasn't been that long since I wanted to be devoured. And how? And when will someone else notice? So blue. At Starbucks, which I visit as regularly as the devout pray, they call me her. Eva, they say, and I thank them. A huge vessel, the wild thirst. Soon enough, she'll drive herself. If I listen with my body, I can hear the waves from the highway. Leaving the parking lot of the gym, it occurs to me I can yell, "Nice signal, asshole," in my head. I do not need to say it aloud. Being I am a tree falling in the forest, trapped inside my air-conditioned automobile, and no one can hear me, not this man, nor any man, nor woman. No one in the world knows what I am saying in my automobile, and so I do not need to pronounce it, can keep it in my head like a coin or a secret. I remember when I first met my husband, and I was going on and on about my lousy childhood. Oh, poor me. And he stopped me and said, "You don't need to tell me everything." And I was so relieved. Wasn't I? Wasn't I relieved? Disembodied at Walmart. I think I once promised myself I would not step foot in a Walmart ever again. That I would find a way to never be greeted, never be ensconced in the yellowish light, nor delight in the remarkable deal on vitamins, nor push this cart with its one bum wheel, nor on impulse grab a fake orchid, nor very slowly chew a single Skittle, nor press on the peaches, nor hold the meat up to the light, nor wonder if it was bad, nor if it was dyed, nor puzzle how I'd come so far only to be here, saving money, living better. And then I'm gonna read two more. My mother's refrigerator is world famous, or maybe not world, but internet famous, or at least the most popular thing I have ever posted to IG. It is lots of Diet Cokes, relish, sour cream, some nice beer, a little bit of Sprite, a strawberries and cream flavored Diet Coke, more popular than Gandhi, surrounded by fallen magnolias as students marched to protest gun violence, more popular than my poem about a pine cone that turns into a bird, or any of my sunsets, more popular than my whole book about cancer, or that one pic of Z in her red hat, mustard, a Mick Ultra. Are those jalapenos more popular than a box of citrus, or flowers on the A train, or the poet laureate on a rooftop bar in Brooklyn, more popular than my release from the hospital and Central Park, Abu Dhabi, and the Empire State Building, and so much more popular than the cherry blossoms? I mean, people are hungry for my mother's refrigerator. They are so hungry. What's the yellow stuff in the bottles? It's cream, my friends, my followers. It's cream, you hungry motherfuckers, cream which she pours into her tea. So hungry are we to see what others hunger for. It's really remarkable, my mother's refrigerator. I'm gonna end with a poem from this strange garment, which you can purchase here. And I take all the digital currencies. Maybe not all of them, but we could talk, maybe. I all but missed the magnolias, all but missed the breaking of the blossoms, being so preoccupied with my own brokenness, my own breaking, another blood panel, another marker to draw another incision to take another organ no longer needed, the sky a tilt, and the birds. When I was pregnant, I walked around in awe of all the people. You were once inside someone, I think, and you and you. You grew and grew, you and you and you. I'd be at the bagel shop, racked with tenderness that each body had grown. Now, same, in awe of you, and you who just pulled your black sweater over your head, and you with the dog, and you smoking the joint, and you grew, yes, grow, and too, you will die, and you will die, and you will die, and you will die, and then who will sit beneath this tree, missing what's already broken? Thank you. It seems we're having a reception. Please help yourself. And maybe Michael wants to say it. Oh yeah. Would you like, yeah, I'll take questions if you have them. Yes. Bob, what's up? Yes.
I still want to hear the poem that you were so passionate about.
Oh, Lake Charles. Yeah. Let me see. Thanks. Yeah. Okay, Lake Charles. Where is it? I kept sending Michael things all day. Can you print this? Print this, just in case. Print this. It's so exciting to know someone with a nice working printer. How does that happen? Is that like a Lake Charles thing? Okay, Lake Charles. Not that I've seen a lake yet, but these things are often true, like how last names come about. Miller, Cobbler. When I walked, I thought, I am not a bad person. But sitting with it, I wonder. I take an apple, Gala, a banana, unstickered. Wait, maybe people aren't called Cobbler, or very few, not enough to count. In all likelihood, I will get hungry later. If not, the fruit will bruise in my bag. She was a wasteful woman, they can say when I'm dead. A wasteful, wasteful woman. Yes.
What made you decide to take a picture of your mom's fridge?
What made me decide what?
To take a pic of your mom's fridge and post it.
To take a picture of your mom's fridge.
Oh. I mean, I had taken pictures of my mom's fridge before, but I do have to say, I have a friend, my friend Lila, who died recently, and but her whole idea was to have a project where you took pictures of the insides of people's fridges, right? Because you have this and it's so intimate, like who opens the yogurt and eats like half of it and then like sticks the thing back in there, and but my mom's fridge is just kind of amazing because there is no food in it, and it doesn't even occur to her to, I'll take the kids there and they're like, we're hungry, Donna. She's like, huh. You can only have so much champagne and Diet Coke before the real hunger pangs kick in. Yeah. But I like that question. How do I feel? I feel good, actually. Yeah, I feel good. I just had my 3-year, for breast cancer, you have to wait 5 years before they kind of give you thumbs up, but I don't, but I feel good. I feel good, and it was kind of a strange, I don't know, it was just, I didn't feel like I felt that bad throughout it, It was tiring, radiation was hard, but it was during the pandemic and everything was just so intense anyway. But I did do things like quit my job and move to Miami, and who knows what I'll do next. Who knows what I'm capable of this evening alone. No, so I guess maybe I feel energized. I feel alive.
Does Miami suit you?
No. No.
You'll find it.
Yeah. I don't know, but I will tell you, my mother has said that my mom has this great little garage apartment, and she says if I want to just move there, she won't tell anyone. And I could just like live upstairs. She won't, let my family know. But so I have this constant fantasy that I can just like get on a bus, and it's always a bus. I can get on a bus and just go to Oklahoma, and there I would be. I wouldn't do that though.
It's like witness protection.
Yeah, it just, it's just that little fantasy you have. Yeah. Mm. Oh. Maybe. I can drag chains around. Yes.
Where are you from?
I am from Hickory, North Carolina, originally, and I moved around a lot growing up. Mostly North Carolina, South Dakota, some, and then, but I moved to Oklahoma when I was 11. So I moved to Oklahoma, and I finished high school, and I went to University of Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And our football team could beat your football team. No.
We're not gonna argue.
I mean, so, yeah. Anything else? Oh, yes.
Do you have any plans at least to see the lake, John?
I wrote that poem this morning at about 9 a.m. and I have remedied that since then. So that's what I was saying earlier in the craft talk. I would never have been able to write this poem again because now I have seen the lake. I also swam in a lake of queso at lunch. I mean, it was a vat. It was really intense. I think I've traumatized Emerson and Michael. So I was like, queso's the best food in the world. This is what you remember from Oklahoma, but it can feel a little heavy. So I saw the lake. I thought it was lovely. And I saw the many, many ducks. Lots of varieties of ducks. Perhaps more than I've ever seen in one body of water. Yes.
You have lots of ducks here.
Yeah. What are the black ones called? Anyone know?
It's called
What? Chicken of the water. That's adorable. See, now I have a poem to write tomorrow. Chicken of the water. That's great. I mean, orchids have become a big thing since I moved to Miami because they are everywhere. They're just, you know, like all over the place. I mean, cherry blossoms really remind me of spring in New York. Yeah, just that feeling of, you know, like certain times, you know, and I think cherry blossoms definitely, spring in New York, and DC has the beautiful cherry blossoms, and that magnolia tree, it was just actually like, I really had almost missed that magnolia tree, and I was like, how have I, and I was trying to like take walks, it was right in the middle of like major surgery time, and I was like getting out, and then I looked up and it was like in its last, I mean, I guess they don't last that long, magnolias. But I was like, I almost missed an entire blooming of a magnolia tree because I'm so preoccupied with myself. Yeah. But I didn't. Yeah, that's funny to think like sometimes you're writing about one particular tree. You know, like I know exactly that, you know, the corner of Marcus Garvey and, you know, I'm just like right where it is.
Do you think that moving around a lot when you were young, opened up a lot of things for you? I did that too.
You did?
Yeah, I moved around a lot, and sometimes people say, oh, I'm so sad, that's terrible that you had to do that. But it really opened my eyes to a lot of different kinds of people, a lot of different kinds of places that I had never thought that I would get to see.
Yeah, no, I do feel that way. I actually went to 26 different schools before I graduated high school, which I feel like is a...
Mine was 13 in the 8th grade.
Oh, wow, see, I mean, that, yeah, it's so, I mean, I felt, but I think that I moved so much that it felt good. Like, I had just now taken my 11-year-old and 14-year-old from Brooklyn to Miami, and they've never moved before, and they're just like, you know, it's much harder. You know, I feel like I loved moving. I mean, I didn't mind moving around, though. It did make me much more stable. Like, after I was able to make my own choices, I stopped moving around. Until I did, but yeah.
I hope I can get this question out. It doesn't make any sense, but you know, I just noticed so much. The language is so rich in your work, especially the rhyme, and I wondered if you could describe. I wonder what it felt like to write the poem on your paper anniversary. I mean, you talk about like language in one of your other poems about kind of being the last thing you really trust. Could you talk about that poem? Because I mean, what did it feel like writing it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, so that poem, it did feel, I mean, it felt very musical writing it. You know, it was, I mean, I got that first line stuck in my head, which is how poems often emerge for me, just like the first line gets stuck in my head. And I was just like, paper gowns are not as soft as cloth gowns, are not as soft. And then it just, I think with that, I really wanted to, I won't call her a friend, I had someone respond to, I mean, she's kind of a friend, but respond to one of my poems, and she was like, I think you're leaning too hard on straight rhyme or something. And I was like, I'm a poet, you know, if I want to rhyme, gets to rhyme. Poets get to rhyme. So I think it was a little bit of a like, oh look, Martha, here's my rhyming poem. But I really just wanted to run with it because I love that feeling of like something getting stuck in your head. That poem I wrote over several days, and would just come up with that, that first word after not as soft as. But yeah, I at the time, hitting the first year anniversary, I had gone, there was like, when I was in, like really in the height of my treatments and surgeries, they were always cloth gowns, and I had suddenly gotten put back into paper gown territory. I was like, what happened to the cloth gowns? They're so soft, And it just, I don't know, in a way that image for me was like, you don't want to have the knowledge that the cloth gowns are softer than the paper gowns. But once you do, it's okay.
I want to sort of piggyback off of that. Because that was a sensational feeling in the body, I wonder if you can observe whether or not when you lean heavily into those rhymes and things like that, are they more typically poems that are about embodiment? Because that's also, something that you explore within your poetry.
I love that, and I wish I could say yes. I don't know. That would be a fun thing to, go back and do a close reading of. I love internal rhyme, and rhyme within the line, in which that has mostly internal rhyme. It might have sounded like end rhyme, but I do love internal rhyme, and I guess that is very much an embodied notion. Yeah.
Report back.
Yeah, I will. 163 cases of you.
Yes, I know.
Is there a method by which an episode or event becomes like a full-length poem, or just like a sonnet, or you just think on it until it becomes like a full-length poem?
Well, I think sometimes poems are smaller, even a sonnet is a full-length poem, but sometimes things, like Lake Charles, I feel like it's a poem, it's not an amazing poem, and it won't be published by anyone. I'll probably never read it again, but it's a poem. Like what is a poem? My poem? Where are the teachers? But yeah, no, I feel like I really believe in seeing a poem to its end, even if its end is not very far. I really believe in starting and finishing, and usually in one sitting. Like for me, it just feels like I want to start it and have a complete moment. And some moments are richer than others, but they're all necessary.